Okay, guys, what's up? I'm Fenya from the Fight Side. This is the early prelim comeback, the early prelims podcast. We're off to a great start here. But anyway, this is the podcast where I discuss the current UFC schedule. So let's get into the recap of UFC Fight Night Cejudo versus Song. So this was the first card in Seattle in over 10 years, I think, and the crowd was crazy. To get an idea, well, this shouldn't be controversial, but there was like a big boxing event this weekend, headlined by the rematch between Almabaev and Bivol, and that main event was not as loud as our opener in this card that was Lestas Bukauskas and Rafael Cerqueira. But we get into that. Let's begin from the top. So this was headlined by Song Yadong against Henry Cejudo, who some of you might remember that he retired after his defense against Dominic Cruz as the Bantamweight champion. He came back, tried to challenge for the title against Aljamain Sterling. Came at short in a very close fight. Then fought Merab, the Walashvili, current champion. They had a competitive fight, but clear win for Merab. And now Cejudo here headlines against Song Yadong. And this had like a rough ending because we went to the rare technical decision. We get into the details of that, but let's talk a little bit about the fight. Mostly a striking affair because Song Yadong was able to defend all the takedowns from Henry Cejudo easily on a very shallow layer, so they didn't get into any actual like wrestling exchanges. It was mostly like Song Yadong getting his hips out of the way, grabbing a whizzer, an underhook, pivoting hard, and shrugging Cejudo off. Cejudo with his wide stance, karate kind of stance, bouncing in and out, using a very blitzy style. Song Yadong with his like well-known kickboxing style. Cejudo, 38 years old, previous wrestling career, still a tremendous athlete, man. That cannot be ignored. And Song Yadong, one of the best athletes in the sport right now. So they were like speed-wise, like I'm feeling like pretty well matched. But Song Yadong had the advantage of not being like the shorter fighter that has constancy to blitz into range, and better punching mechanics overall. Cejudo can tend to, especially when he gets into like longer exchanges, to overswing a little bit. Cejudo was having some success early with leg kicks, but Song Yadong. One thing about Song Yadong and that I have talked about in the past is that this guy has so much experience. This was his 31st fight. He has been fighting before his 16th birthday, so he has seen it all. So Song Yadong doesn't have like a lot of depth to his striking, but what he has is a lot of experience, and he's also like pretty good at catching up with habits as the fight went on. So Cejudo was having success with his own leg kicks earlier. Then Song Yadong like got a read on the timing, and he was shaking a lot of those. But then Song Yadong was like mauling the calf of Cejudo, punishing that long karate stance. And then Cejudo went to southpaw, and he started like finding great success with his jab and with the straight left. But after a while, Song Yadong caught up to that too. So it was a very solid performance by Song Yadong. So let's get into the funny business, because this is MMA and we cannot just have good fights, right? So Song Yadong, unintentional eye poke. I feel pretty safe saying that. Pretty bad. Cejudo takes the whole 5 minutes to recover. In what could have been like, the referee here was Jason Herzog, and I feel like he made a decent job of controlling the situation overall, but there was some signs, right? I'm not entirely sure, but I think Cejudo like either said out loud or gave an understanding that he was not able to see out of his left eye, I think. So when a fighter says that, you stop that immediately as the referee. But Cejudo, I think he didn't say it outright, because he was like, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. So Cejudo was like, give me the time, give me a towel, and it will get better. The 5 minutes ended. Cejudo was forced to go back to the fight. He was not seeing, so he ran for the remainder like minute and a half of the fight. And then Cejudo was like telling to his corner very clearly that he could not see. He could not see at all out of his left eye. He said that he had double vision and stuff like that. So they call out the fight. But Herzog, and this is among the attributions that Herzog has as a referee. So strictly he followed like he did everything he did was inside his powers, right? So he begins the fourth round, so they can go to a decision because you need like more of half of the rounds. So if you are on a 3-round fight, you need 2 rounds to have concluded, and in a 5-round fight, you need 3 rounds completed to go to the scorecards before the end of the fight. And you can only go to the scorecards before the end of the fight because of an unintentional fall, right? Because if it is determined that it is an intentional foul, you gotta disqualify the guy that's fouling. But Herzog here determined that Yadong was not being intentional, so they go to scorecards. Song Yadong gets the decision. Kind of a bittersweet ending. I thought this was like a pretty cool fight. Cejudo was like kind of running out of ideas, but he was still and fading a little bit, like not super hard, but he was like slowing down a little bit. So Yadong was like taking control of the fight, but it was either way it was a very good fight. It sucks for Cejudo. I've never been a fan, but like I would never wish a bad eye poke that, especially it's concerning because it didn't like go away after like the 5 minutes and even a minute and a half more, and then the minute resting in the stool, and it did not get better. So let's hope Cejudo's eye is okay. What's next for Cejudo? I really hope he stays in the division. He could fight like maybe like, I don't know, we have some fight announcements down the line, so we could get into that. For Song, what's next? I heard someone like throwing around the name of Umar Nurmagomedov out there. I would love that fight, especially because Song Yadong has a strong takedown defense in the first layer. Obviously, Umar would be the superior grappler there. But Song Yadong, I feel like he has a better style to punish some of the habits on the feet that from Umar, that someone like Corey Sanhagen, for example. So that would be neat to see. Our co-main event had a rematch between Anthony Hernandez and Brendan Allen. They had their first fight in the LFA many years ago. I have an alternate commentary video, so if you go to the Patreon, you can check that one out. It's a lot of fun, even though it was like very dominated by Fluffy. First round, Allen really punishing the stance of Fluffy here with the leg kicks, getting to look good on the feet a little bit, but then Fluffy goes to the wrestling, and it's clear that he's the superior wrestler both on the feet and on the mat. Fluffy went for a force. Fluffy is always flowing from like the right, from kind of a referee position where he goes for wrist rights, ankle rights, the cradle sometimes, and the front headlock. And he went for a right and he tries to force a back take. He usually has options from there, but Allen was like aware of it, turned into him. Spent quite a good amount of time on top of Fluffy there. So, and landed like nice elbows at the end of the round. So, first round probably to Allen, then Fluffy goes into the grind, into like rinse and repeat, mat returns, using ankle rights, wrist rights, landing ground and pound in between. Very solid second round for Fluffy. Then third round begins and Allen hurts Fluffy. Like, I don't know what happened. Maybe like, I don't know if it was a punch to the eye or something. But he hurt, man. But Allen could not. Went for a guillotine, I think, at one moment during the trying to finish the fight. Fluffy ends up like controlling, but not doing a lot of damage until the very last like minute of the fight, where he got like finally like solid top position and went to some strikes. but he controlled most of the third round. I feel like an argument for Allen winning the third is not insane. And I say this as a huge Fluffy fan, man. But yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, all judges saw it going for Fluffy. So big for Fluffy because I've been saying this is one of the worst matchups for him in the division. Now, like, what scary fights are left for Fluffy now? I would say, like, the few, like, Vettori could be complicated a little bit. Canyoneer. And then you have to go to, like, Robert Whittaker, Hamzat Chimaev, Duplessis, and I don't think he doesn't have a shot against any of them. I feel like, I'm not saying Fluffy like future champion, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities. So good for Fluffy, man. Apparently he was on antibiotics too, so maybe we will see a better performance next time if we believe him. I tend to do. Rob Font fought Jan Matsumoto in short notice. Rob Font, man, was controlling the first round like very well, but Matsumoto like hurt him with a left hook on the first round. Font was struggling a little bit with the wrestling, but old Rob Font gets better as the fight goes on with the grappling. He was using like 2-on-1 wrist control, using his classic like Kimura traps to get back to the feet. And on the feet, he was like just boxing Matsumoto, who is like scrappy and shows some good ideas, especially countering with leg kicks, which is something kind of interesting. But Rob Font just had the superior boxing, and he was like landing with the jab, finding the right hands. So a good veteran performance by Rob Font. Solid win. Jan Silva fought Melsik Bagdasaryan. They were looking like pretty evenly matched. And then Jan Silva just hit the nuke button and hit him with a 3-2. Just went with the... he was the orthodox here, so left hooked into the right straight right. Dropped Bagdasaryan bad. Bagdasaryan not doing anything. Jan Silva was like looking at the ref like, look, he's done. And the ref was not stopping the fight. So Silva just went with elbows to the body on the ground, and Bagdasaryan went to turtle. And it was very clear that he was done. So, yeah, Jan Silva keeps being the real deal. What else can we say about that? And also, Manyfield fought boy of Twitter, Julius Walker. And this one was a banger, to be honest. Walker pushes hard for the clinch. He has like a bit of a, like, some people will get mad, but he has a bit of a Muay Thai style. Like, he tries to fight long with the tips at long range, tries to close the distance to land like nasty knees inside the clinch and look for knees. He tries to look for counter elbows during entries, but he's not very, very comfortable on the feet, I feel, Julius Walker. And I was saying on the preview, Alonso Manyfield is a rough debut for anyone, because just he's like, you can talk shit about 205, but also Manyfield is a real fighter. Like, he's very athletic, and he's someone that can fight wherever the fights go. So, and he has decent conditioning too, especially for a thick boy like he is. One big problem for Julius in this fight was that Manyfield too fucking strong to get the kind of takedowns that he was trying to force. You could see like Manyfield like just posturing out from very shallow underhooks. He's just such a beast of a dude, man. But it was a very fun, like, back and forth fight. Both guys very tired, but Manyfield, with better mechanics and better comfort on the feet, was what won him the fight at the end. It was a very solid debut for Julius Walker, looking forward big time for his next fight, and solid for Manyfield to defend his ranking here. We also have like heavyweights on the future prelim. It was Iwan Kutelaba against Ivo Aslan. Just a stupid fight. Ivo Aslan looking like the superior striker, but Kutelaba was swinging big and then got the big takedown. And from top, he completed the arm triangle choke. So good for Iwan to get another win. It has been rough for him lately. Melky Costa fought Andre Fili, exchanging brutal body kicks to the open side. Fili finally catches a body kick, goes for the takedown, and man, good job for Melky to adjust to find the guillotine from his back. But man, Fili could have done more about it, I feel, man. It was disappointing. I feel like Philly is a better grappler than this. It was a cool guillotine by Mikey, but it's like it was rough to see Philly getting caught with that. It's been a while since we've seen a guillotine that was not set up in the transition from a takedown, right, or from the front headlock. But this was like setting from his back from guard, and he got to like this half guard to complete the guillotine with good technique. Like nothing against Melky. It's just more like disappointed in Philly for this one. Mansour Abdul Malik fought Nick Klein. Nick Klein wasn't very familiar with him. I guess I saw his Contender Series fight and I didn't remember. Was trying to wrestle Malik like way too strong for him. And Klein like not even like a great wrestler. Klein found a spinning back fist that connected like kind of flush and hurt Malik on the first round. But then he went to clinch again and tried to get the takedowns and nothing worked. Then second round, Malik like very low output here, like not imposing himself. But at the end, he kind of decided like, okay, let's put an end to this, and he shoves Nick Klein to the ground, like insane visual there, and he just murders him with ground and pound. So yeah, Abdul Malik is like obviously has all the right attributes. He's in a good gym with a good coach with Eric Nixick, but it was not a good look, man. Because Nick Klein did not look like UFC level, even for middleweight, and Malik, it looked like Malik had Abdul Malik had all the advantages that you could have, and he was not doing much with them until the finish. So, but obviously he still has a bright future in front of him. Ricky Simon, who we have been demoting to Ricky Simon for a while, but he fought Javid Basharat, and I felt like this was a rough matchup for this version of Ricky that we have seen lately. Ricky shows up with no mullet and blonde, and I thought, oh my god, this is Ricky Simon, man. This is Ricky Simon. He's cooked, but no, dude. This was El Vato Ricky El Rubio Simon, and he showed up, man. I mean, actually, like, Ricky was looking kind of sketchy on the feet. Javid was having kind of his way with him. Ricky was like forcing the wrestling, and it looked like he was the superior wrestler, but Javid was able to defend quite a few times. And Ricky was not looking very sure of his striking, but then out of nowhere, he just goes with the huge 1-2. Javid Basharat with a very bladed stance, not hiding behind his shoulder. Very, very dangerous place to be in the pocket. And the straight right lands flush, puts him out like immediately. He goes to the ground, and Ricky, I think he gets to land like 2 huge hammer fists. The eyes on Javid Basharat were crazy because he never closed his eyes, so he was looking to another dimension, man. But it was crazy shit. Good for Ricky to get back in the win column, and now there's all the haters of Javid Basharat have a lot of fuel to say that he's like, oh, the bad brother. I honestly always felt like Javid was superior to his younger brother, just because he's a better boxer. But it might be like his brother is developing a bit better. I don't know. Austin Vanderford, Pageman said for Nikolai Veretenikov. Not much to say about this fight. Vanderford did not look great on the feet, but he was able to complete two takedowns, one on the first round, one on the second, and he was able to do the most out of them. He looked very solid from top position, to be honest. He was like a throwback wrestler from the like 2008, 2010 kind of like American style wrestler that it's very heavy from traditional jiu-jitsu positions, with a little flair with the wrist control, with the wrist rights, and solid ground and pound. And also like some submission options. So Vanderford looks good on the feet, but the problem is that he's not a good striker and he doesn't look to have like very good entries to his takedowns. After the fight, Veretenikov very frustrated with the stoppage because he felt it was early. To be fair, like he was not getting out of a cross wrist right. Vanderford was like just nailing him. Wasn't like the biggest shots, but Veretenikov was given a lot of warnings about getting out of that position and he didn't, so I thought the stoppage was fine. Veretenikov goes and shoves Austin Vanderford after the bell. Like, I don't know, man. I don't like to call for people to be out of for a job. But dude, if you can hold it together after the fight, like you just had a fight. Like if you wanted to hit this guy, you had the opportunity, you couldn't. So what a sore loser, man. Nursultan Rusiboyev fought Eri Makoniko. Rusiboyev ends up landing like a big right hand at range. And that was it. Not much to say about that. And the opener was Modestas Bukauskas against Rafael Cerqueira. And Cerqueira has not fought the level of competition, man. He has some like solid offensive ideas, but he doesn't have the defense, and he doesn't like dealing with this level of athletes in the UFC. I feel like he's going to have trouble. That's the problem with being a can crusher. Like some guys can develop being a can crusher, but some guys just fall apart when they have to face the next level of athletes, the next level of technique, of resilience. And Bukauskas was not going away because he has the chin, he's a big dude, he's athletic. So he caught Cerqueira with a leaping left hook, which rocked him bad, and put on a, to be honest, quite sick finishing sequence against the fence, man. And that was the event. It was okay. It was action-packed, not a lot of like very important fights. Big win for Ricky Simon. Abdul Malik gets another win. Juice Walker makes his debut. Jan Silva is Jan Silva. Rob Font remains relevant at 135. Fluffy makes yet another case to be at the top of the division. And Song Yadong gets a sketchy but still a win against a former champion in Henry Cejudo. Let's get into the next part of the podcast. So remember, guys, this podcast is brought to you by my dear patrons at Patreon. If you want to support the fight site as an ongoing project, me being able to make this podcast to post content for you guys, consider supporting me on Patreon. You get access to a lot of exclusive content that we cannot put on YouTube, especially the alternate commentaries and some videos that we had problem with copyright strikes on YouTube. And to be clear, like everything that we're doing over at Patreon, everything is fair use. We're not doing anything illegal. It's just that the YouTube copyright system is broken, and we cannot do much about that. So if you want to see the exclusive content that we cannot post everywhere else, head over to Patreon. If you want to support me in other ways and you want to get something in exchange other than the exclusive content, remember that we have new merch. This merch comes in a lot of different formats. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have crew necks, we have mugs, we have stickers. So if you like any of these designs, head over to the Fight Site store, link in the description, and consider buying a little something. First, a shout out to the Pivots Don't Work in MMA design. This is like the in-joke on Twitter to dunk on all the guys that say like the kind of like crazy shit that pivots do not work in MMA, because and I put the craziest one of the craziest phrases that we hear about this discourse around, and is you're going to get head kicked. What does it have to do? No one knows, but it is on the t-shirt. We also have this user checks leg kicks design. This is like an 8-bit pixel art video game inspired design with an 8-bit font and pixel art done by yours truly, by myself. You can check out some other of my pixel art over there. Just like for all the leg kick checkers out there, you have a t-shirt now. And we also have the body punching crew design. Okay, I love this one, man, with the little lever. And yeah, it's just like a varsity inspired design for all the boys that like to put people down with those lever shots. You have a design right there. Let's get into some fight announcements. We have Victor Henry La Mangosta is back. He's fighting Pedro Falcao, who I don't remember Pedro Falcao a lot. I know that he fought Victor Hugo his last time around. If I don't remember Pedro Falcao, it's very likely that this is an easy win for Victor Henry, but Victor Henry likes to make things difficult for himself, so who knows. But yeah, I mean, just wanted to talk about this one because like we all love Victor Henry, one of my favorites. Talking about bantamweight bangers, we have David Grant back in action against Willy Cat Daniel Santos from Shooter Box. This one has banger written all over it. You know David Grant never disappoints. Daniel Santos pushes an insane pace, is very well rounded, he's very aggressive. This is going to be fireworks guaranteed. What else we have? We have a weird mirror match at flyweight. We have Alan Nascimento against Rafael Filho. So both guys very good grapplers from top position. Both like kinda like stiff on the feet, but they carry power. So I hope they end up grappling and this is like a scramble fest. But interesting fight at flyweight. What else we have? We have Mike Malott against Charles Radke. Not a fan of either of these guys, but against I gotta root for Mike Malott here, right? And yeah, I mean Radke has been getting away fighting the lower levels of the UFC welterweight division, but I don't like him, but he's like well put together and he's solid. Mike Malott, a little bit more of a gimmicky guy, but he's still like big and athletic, so we'll see what happens in this fight. What else we have? Oh, Rafa Garcia was supposed to fight Neto VJJ. He's out and stepping in on somewhat short notice. The fight is still a month out. It's going to be Vince Pichel. Interesting fight because Garcia likes to push wrestling pace and Pichel very strong physically, solid takedown defense. So this one is going to be a scrap as well. Okay, let's get into some bigger ones. Corey Sanhagen is fighting Davison Figueiredo. Huge fight. I said like last year, especially I think after the Corey versus Umar, that if Sanhagen fights Figueiredo right now, he's going to fight like a pussy. I just hope he proves me wrong. And this guy have a violent affair here. Figueiredo looked very good in his last fight against Pierre Yan. He's like old, but still carries like big power. He's still like very like maybe not super crafty, but intelligent about using his tools and his athleticism. Corey Sanhagen is still in this journey of being like sort of a neutralizer. We'll see if he gets back to his more aggressive roots for this one. I don't think takedowns will be very available for Sanhagen here. Maybe from body lock. We've seen Figueiredo drop from the body lock before. But yeah, I mean, let's hope that Sanhagen can put on the volume and being aggressive here on the feet to give us an exciting fight. What else we have? Okay, this one is not as big. But Matt Schnell is returning from retirement. I don't know if this is a retirement fight. Curiously, he's fighting another fighter that retired in the UFC and came back in Jimmy Flick. I feel like this is a decent matchup for Schnell because he's a very solid grappler, and he will have the boxing advantage here. And he's not dealing with a huge power puncher. I mean, Flick still can crack, but he's not like the kind of guy that has been putting Matt Schnell out. Gilbert Burns is fighting Michael Morales. Oh, dude, this one is rough, man, because I feel like Michael Morales has no business beating someone as good as Burns. But Burns been getting old. We saw in that fight against Brady, he's dropping a little bit of volume. And Morales, he has a jab. He's very long. He's very athletic. He's big. But Morales probably has like no. He sometimes likes to clinch and get takedowns, and that's probably not an option here against Burns, right? We saw that the takedown defense is still tremendous. We saw that against Brady. But Morales just might win because he's long and has a jab, and Burns is like not the same anymore. What else we have? Dan Ige is fighting Sean Woodson. The height and reach discrepancy in this one is going to be crazy. But Sean Woodson better protect his chin, man. We all know Dan Ige hits like a truck, and he has been hitting guys like a truck lately. And a higher level of competition, but good for Sean Woodson to get the step up in competition, right? Interesting fight, especially because like Woodson is clearly like will try to keep like things at long range here, but he likes putting his combinations inside the pocket, and that's where maybe like Dan Ige can find his huge left hook or something. So intriguing. I'm not going to complain about that one. We have a very interesting fight at welterweight. We have southpaw on southpaw action, and we have Jeff Neal against Carlos Prates. So excited about this one. Uh, I feel like Prates may be like better equipped to deal with the southpaw here because he has leg kicks. And Neil, he fought a southpaw in his last one against Los Angeles, but we didn't see much of it. I don't know. I feel like Neil is like he's not like decaying like physically a lot, but I feel like the mental side is like getting rough on him. He's kind of like low volume. He's like I don't know, man. It's hard to like keep being like at your best when you like lose those big fights like he did against Rachmanov and the decision that didn't go his way against Gary. Like he's like getting out of like title contention. He's not there. And Prates comes with all the momentum. This is also Neil, even though a capable wrestler and grappler, probably not the guy to take down Carlos Prates. So I feel like I'm liking Prates here. Valentina Shevchenko will defend her title against Manon Fiorot. Finally, this has been long due, and I say this one as someone that doesn't enjoy the style of Manon Fiorot, but she's the rightful next contender. Interesting because they have like kind of similar styles, a lot of like fencing style. I feel like Valentina would be a prime Valentina would be superior, and I would pick her to win. But I feel like this is a bit of a rough matchup at this stage. Like Fiorot is probably going to have like Fiorot is gonna have the higher output here. Might be packing more pop at this stage, maybe. Like Valentina can still like surprise with a flash of speed, but Fiorot has like more consistent power, I would say. And I don't think that takedowns are going to be as available because Fiorot is huge and she's strong in the clinch. Probably because she has a lot of good training partners in that area over at France. So, but yeah, I'm intrigued. Valentina looked in very good form, like clearly out of her prime. She's like slower, not as powerful, not as physical, but she still showed up in decent form against Alexa Grasso in her last fight to regain the title. This one, man. Belal Mohamed is defending his title against my boy Jack Della Maddalena. Jesus Christ. I'm excited about this one, man. Will Belal impose the wrestling? Oh, man, I don't know, man. I feel like it's on Belal's best interest to pressure in this fight. I feel like if he fights like on the outside trying to find the takedowns, that plays straight into Jack Della. But Jack Della can be taken down and has been taken down numerous times. So it will be on Jack Della to create the scrambles, keep it on the feet, and make the most out of his time on the feet. Use his boxing advantage, his power advantage here. And you know, Belal has been improving on the boxing, but I feel like the style of counters that Belal Mohamed has, which is mostly like reposition and look for 1-2s, it's not like a very great matchup for Jack Della. It will give a lot of Della opportunities to work his like ambidextrous combinations, his shifts, and his body punching too. We haven't seen Belal deal with a lot of that. And obviously, we haven't seen Jack Della deal with someone as well-rounded that it's going to look for the takedowns. We saw a little bit against Gilbert Burns, and we saw that Belal is a better version of that than Gilbert Burns overall when they fought. So I'm super excited about this one. Patricio Pitbull makes his UFC debut against Jair Rodriguez. And I'm kind of scared for Pitbull here, but also very excited to see him in a UFC kit. Like, this is huge news. I know, like, Pitbull is kind of old. Has been doing some silly stuff. Like, he took that fight against Sergio at 135 and then he moved out like a month later to 155. Like, come on, dude. But Patricio is still like legit. Like, we already saw Patricio dealing with somewhat of a similar matchup in Maki. Rodriguez probably more dangerous than Maki on the feet, more dynamic, but he doesn't have the grappling. I would say he's not as good in the clinch as well. So, winnable for Patricio, but still very dangerous. Michael Chandler is fighting Paddy the Baddy. Paddy, man, he still keeps getting these like step-ups in competition, but guys that are probably like not as good as they were sometime in the past. And it's clear that Chandler is not the same guy anymore, but he should still be very dangerous for Paddy. He still hits like a motherfucking. He's very hard to put away with grappling, as we saw against Charles Oliveira. And he can still swing even when he gets tired. I mean, Chandler got his ass kicked by Charles Oliveira, but that's fucking Charles Oliveira, right? So Chandler should still be a very dangerous fight for Paddy. Paddy probably here looking to establish like long kicking range, trying to frustrate him into making some like mistake. And I don't know if the grappling is the way to go here for Paddy. So it looks rough, but Paddy has been winning these fights. The big news of the last week was that Ilia Topuria is relinquishing his featherweight title to move up permanently to lightweight. And in both of that, we have Alex Volkanovski against Diego Lopez for the title, for the undisputed title. This should have been Ibloyev versus Volkanovski, to be honest. But this is still a banger of a fight. I'm scared as a Volk fan. Because we don't know where his chin is at right now, right? I feel like Volkanovski is a terrible matchup for Diego Lopez, but Diego Lopez can fucking crack. So he can crack and he's sharp out of the gate. Volkanovski can be hit in the early goings of fights, so that's where the danger is, right? It's a big fight. So obviously Jack Della stepping up to fight for the title. That leaves Leon Edwards without a dance partner for the London card. And we have Sean Brady stepping in. So very interesting fight. I should favor like Leon like big time here. But Brady fighting on that Belal archetype that gave Leon problems when he lost the title. So who knows? I hope Leon Edwards still has a little bit of prime here and he can win this fight because I'm a big Leon Edwards fan. And we have a fight between Alexa Grasso and Natalia Silva. A contenders fight at 125. Very interesting. Will be this the jump for Natalia Silva into contention? A lot of people are very high on her. I feel like this is a big test for her on the feet, especially because she, even though like Alexa Grasso has lost a lot of like her more nuanced boxing in favor of like just bombing girls with the 1-2 and looking for the left hook during breaks. I think like Natalia Silva hasn't dealt with a boxer of that quality. And we saw like Natalia Silva look very sketchy at numerous times against Jessica Andrade. Alexa Grasso can also like mix in the takedowns. She's a solid grappler, so I feel like this is a very solid test for Natalia Silva. If she's looking to be like the next big thing at 125, she better win this one. And with that, oh, I forgot to add the last picture. Give me a little second here. Okay. And with that, we will going to go into a little preview of this Saturday's card, which is UFC Fight Night Kape versus Almabaev. Man, this one is kind of rough. I like the main event. This was supposed to be Kape against Royval, which was a better main event, gotta say. But this one is still intriguing. Kape has been looking very solid as a defensive wrestler and has been like correcting some issues with his volume. He has been looking very good, so it looks like Kape is a bad fight for Almabayev, but Almabayev is a beast, man. Don't count him out. Solid fight and 5 rounds for these guys. I love it. The problem is that the card gets rough. Right now at Apology, list as the co-main event is Cody Brundage versus Julian Marquez, and like, the fuck is this shit, bro? What are we doing here? Brundage hasn't won a fight in more than a year. Marquez won his last UFC fight almost 4 years ago, and that was against Sam Alvey. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. Brundage coming off a no contest and lost his fight against Bo Nickel before that. What is this doing as a co-main event? I have no idea. It's like an okay fight. I don't hate it. If this was like down to the card, I would get it. Like, this is okay matchmaking, but I don't get why this is like co-main event at all. Let's talk about good fights instead, because we have a fight between Nasrat Haqparast and step at Ribovics, and this one is going to bang. Very interested to see how Ribovics deal with the southpaw here. We'll see his head kick show up here. The exchanges in the pocket will be very interesting here because Hagpar has very quick hands, has been improving his right hook. And Ribovics, he's all about that left hook. He can go to the body with it. A nasty right hook in close quarters too. So very, very cool fight. Austin Lane is fighting Mario Pinto, who is like a heavyweight from Contender Series. Like, I don't know what to tell you about that. William Gomez. We are the Gomez hater train here. He's fighting Haider Emil, who has been looking very solid in his fight against Young Lee and Fernie Garcia. Gomez might have the style to like frustrate him though, because he's like long, kicks a lot, clinches a lot. But I'm hoping for Emil to find his chin and put some good punches into him. Danny Barlow and Sam Patterson have a fight at Jankweight. Fight between lanky guys. Patterson probably more crafty, but Barlow a lot more athletic. We'll see what happens there. Okay, we have a great one here. Ricardo Ramos is fighting Chepe Mariscal. This one fucking rules. I'm all for this fight. Love it. Ramos, he's with Fighting Nerds now. And he can do it all. He can strike. He can go for big takedowns. He's dynamic. But he has been like getting into guillotines and like dumb shit at times. I also thought like that Ramos did not win his last fight against Josh Culibao, but it was close. And against him we have Chepe, who is in a run. Like he's already 4-0 in the UFC with wins against Trevor Peek, Jack Jenkins, Morgan Charrier, and Damon Jackson. And especially the Jack Jenkins and the Charrier wins are aging very well. So very excited about this one. What else we have? Oh, DSDA! Douglas Silva de Andrade is fighting John Castaneda. This should be a banger. Castaneda had trouble with Daniel Marcos the last time out. And Silva de Andrade is coming off a loss against Miles Jones, which was like a pretty solid scrap. So yeah, I mean, like this is like low end of the bantamweight division right now, and it is still very good, man. Like, bantamweight is so good. Andrea Lee is fighting JJ Aldrich. This is like solid matchmaking at 125. Andrea Lee on a 5-fight losing streak, and I don't think that represents how good she is of a fighter. I don't think she's bad. And Aldrich, man, she's very solid, but not very athletic. And she's kind of slow. Lucas Almeida is fighting Danny Silva, and I'm excited about Danny Silva. He's very cool. Almeida is a banger on the feet, man. He's like a long kickboxer that has a solid left hook. This is going probably easy win for Danny, but it's going to rock as long as it lasts, I guess. Montana De La Rosa is fighting Luana Carolina. It's whatever at the women's flyweight. And the opener, Charles Johnson. Like Charles Johnson should be in the main event maybe against Kape, but he's fighting Ramazan Temirov instead. Man, Charles Johnson energy fighting the prospect like left and right, man. Took a step down in competition to fight Sumo Derji. Was a close fight, and now he gets like another step down. I know that Temirov is like promising in the division, but that's rough for a guy on a 4-fight winning streak with wins against like prospects like Asad Maksum and Joshua Ban. Like, why is he fighting yet another prospect? I don't get it. And with that, we conclude the podcast. Thank you guys for joining me for this occasion. Remember, head over to Patreon to support, get access to exclusive content, alternate commentaries, video breakdowns, articles. We have a lot of that over there for only a few dollars. You can get access to all of that. And if you don't like it, you can like cancel your subscription. You get also access to our Discord server that is very cool to talk about fights and other stuff. Remember the merch. We have the merch. Pivots don't work in MMA. This user like checks leg kicks. Body puncher crew. We have all of that over at the Teespring store. Link in the description. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube, and leave us a good review if you're listening in podcast form. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.